So the season is officially on its way, and we're jumping right into the qualification round of the North American Cup here in Montreal, Canada. So this was super sick because we obviously train at this gym, and the North American Cup this year, one of the 3 bouldering stops was actually at Roseblock. So we didn't have to travel whatsoever. We could sleep in our own beds at night, and the diet and the time zone, everything was all the same. So we were really lucked out for this one. But it did add a layer of stress to the event. So here in the qualification round, we start off with a good flash of Boulder 1. Now, at the North American Cup, the level of the qualifiers is not quite up to what you'd see maybe at World Cups. It's the semifinal and maybe the final where you're seeing some of those World Cup qualifier level boulders. So the qualification here... it had a couple of hard boulders for sure, but you're mostly looking for quite a few tops to make it into the semifinal. But because this was at Roseblock, there's a little bit of nervousness. So, first round right out of the bat, my heart's pounding pretty heavily going into this qualification round. And, little mistakes can kind of add up in a qualifier because you'll typically see people with 5 tops or 4 tops. And I think there were a lot of 4-top people in this round. So, little mistakes, maybe not topping one of the boulders that are a bit easier or taking too many attempts can really send you down the list when it comes to qualifiers. So luckily I had 2 flashes, but you'll see that second one took a couple seconds to figure out where I needed to put my toe hook or where I needed to put my foot to just match the finish hold. So some context for this competition. We're just about to peak for the Brazil World Cup, which at this point is about 2 weeks away. So we're just kind of into that tapering mode where we're peaking and, taking the volume down and taking the heavy pull-ups and all that sort of stuff up a little bit. So this is a great feeling event for me. And the only thing is I'm dealing with a bit of a hamstring strain. So I was actually not able to compete in a couple local comps recently because I strained my hamstring sprinting. So if you're a climber out there, be careful when you're sprinting because that is something we don't really do in our sport and we're not really used to it. So it's just about healed at this point, but I'm still being careful. So for example, in the second boulder, I probably would have opted for a heel hook to match the finish, but I took that right off the table and I had to make do with a toe hook somewhere else. So that's why it took me a little bit longer. So this is boulder 3, and this is definitely the hardest boulder of the round. I put 3 attempts on it, all different types of beta I was trying out. I think the original beta where you just kind of slap up to the 2 holds is what they were looking for. But yeah, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't feel comfortable. And I think this is a good round to have right before World Cup because sometimes feeling uncomfortable is actually what they were going for with a World Cup boulder. So I was feeling uncomfortable in boulder 3 and I thought I needed to find a way to feel more comfortable. But that was definitely not what I was supposed to be doing, and I should have just committed once more to double slap. But of course, it's only the qualification round, so it's not too important. I think that boulder ended up having just 1 top on it. I was hoping to be that one person that topped it. Unfortunately, I wasn't, because a lot of this event for me is actually just trying to make sure I feel good for Brazil. So, there's no pressure to really perform here. This is a bit of a qualification event for the national team. A lot of team athletes do get some of their points from North American Cups. So this is very important for our team selection. But for me, I have a lot of points from the World Cup season last year. So this is more of a prep event. And of course, it is the Roseblock event. So of course, we're going to this event and we're repping Rose. And there's a little bit of extra pressure there because of that. So yeah, in terms of trying to feel good for Brazil, the pressure really is just, how do I qualify? Did I crush it or was I kind of only okay? And I'm really just trying to walk away feeling really, really good about my training and my preparation. But this qualifier was not really showing that. So you can see this last slab here. I'm really struggling to figure out how to stand up on this volume. And what I realized is that the volume that you kind of establish on for the start position is the exact same volume to the left that I have to stand on. And I didn't think that I would be able to just stand up and balance on it for some reason. It's again that kind of feeling uncomfortable and not wanting to move out of that position while you're still uncomfortable. I didn't really have that dialed in at this point. So you can see I got my left foot there. I just don't think I can balance on it. I don't know why. The beta ended up being that you do just balance and just lean over to that zone hold. I was trying to go for this crazy dynamic beta, and it took me quite a few attempts to try to learn. So you can see this is the first one where I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can actually balance on it. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with maybe the third boulder just not committing to that, and then this boulder just, again, not really having that instinct on the slab, which is also strange because Roseblock sets boulders like this all the time where you're balancing on. I've probably balanced on these exact volumes at Roseblock on this exact wall. So something was going on here, but luckily I'm at the top here, and I've got probably 10 seconds left at this point, and I fumbled it, and we did not get the top there. But moving on to semifinals, we qualified in, I believe, 12th place, so it was a little bit uncomfortable. I typically qualify in the top 5-ish, if not just like the top 1 or 2 spots. So I was a little bit shaken in my confidence, having not topped that last slab. But again, not topping one boulder that most people are topping in semis or in qualifiers can just send you all the way down. And that's exactly what happened to me. So what's good news about that is that I didn't have as much time to wait in ISO when I was getting ready for semis. And for this first boulder in semis, again, you finish on a slab in qualifiers and you start with a slab in semis. So the slab skills are definitely being put to the test in these rounds. And this one I was a bit more determined to do. I think a problem I had in the qualifier was I wasn't fully ready to treat it like a World Cup, like having that extra bit of focus and try hard. And so I'm really, really glad I did this event, because that qualification round that I had just in the North American Cup would have probably happened in Brazil. I wouldn't have been ready for the World Cup boulders, and I wouldn't have been focused enough. So now that I shook off the cobwebs in the qualifier, I was ready to take it seriously in this semifinal. So I was shaken pretty hard on this boulder. I think this is my third attempt, and we've got maybe 50 seconds left at this point. So it was definitely all or nothing. But I was calm and collected. I was very slow and patient with that slab, and I got that done. So I was happy about that. And of course, I can hear what's going on in the semifinal, so I know that not too many tops are flying around right now. So boulder number 2, this one, I turned around and I thought, okay, this looks super doable. I think I can probably do this on my first try. Even getting to the start hold, they were looking for one of those lâcher, kind of match the hand and then swing over. But I found that the next hold was close enough that I could actually match the second start hold and just kind of swing my foot over, which is a little bit higher percentage. And the name of the game is, doing the boulders as fast as possible. So if you see a kind of higher percentage version of a move, I try to always do that in competitions. And then we get to this finish move. It's a little bit scary. There are actually a couple injuries that happened on this boulder. But yeah, as long as you're kind of pulling up into control the finish hold, it's not too scary, but it's a bit high. And typically when I'm training, I don't really do big moves like that at the top of the wall, just to save, in case of injury. Never want to get injured anywhere, except I guess a competition is the one place where maybe that you could risk it. But anyway, we got that one done. So now we're 2 boulders in, and we're feeling good. We're looking good for the final, and they're taking 8 to the final. So so we're hopping onto this third boulder, and right away I was like, this boulder looks like something right out of Beta Block, another gym here in Montreal. And I made quick work of that. I think that was the first top of the round. I think there were only 2 or 3 tops on that overall. So that was a really, really good send. So right away into the 4th boulder, we're basically in at this point. I have a good feeling that that was probably enough based on who's coming in and how soon they're coming back from the wall. I just got to get this one done. So I knew everyone was basically flashing this boulder, so I didn't think it would be too bad. You can see I kind of overshoot it and have a pretty nasty fall. I actually had a bit of a bruise and a scrape on my elbow. My neck also hurts today, and it's only 2 days later. So I think I might have had a little bit of whiplash there. And it took me a second thinking, should I do that again? I probably got the zone already. I've got 3 tops. Maybe don't need to risk it, especially before Brazil. But at the same time, I thought it wouldn't be so hard to just do it. And also I knew everyone was topping it, so I didn't want my scorecard to not have this on it. So I just went again. And again, I kind of made this same error. I'm just not quite going for it enough. The finish hold isn't really a sinker jug. So you kind of have to hit it basically with 2 arms and really hit in deep on it, because it's kind of a sloper basically. So this last attempt, I thought, enough is enough. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna over jump for it, as much power as possible. You see I grab it, like basically no swing in my upper body. And with that, we've got 4 tops moving into finals. And I'm first place going into finals, which is exactly where I wanted to be to get that confidence up. So then we move into our final. So first off, this first boulder was getting a lot of tops. So right away, as competitors, we're all worried that it's going to be maybe an easier final, which means attempts matter, which is a stressful place to be. To know that there's a lot riding on being able to flash something, even flashing low percentage moves, just makes the comp a little bit more stressful, a little more pressure. So this first boulder, I was of course feeling the pressure of having to flash it. And luckily I did. I was able to make it kind of play to my strengths by campusing through the middle. I guess the other competitors were throwing their feet up into the start holds, but I was able to, with all my campus training I've been doing with Zach, campus through it. So that was really, really solid. And I felt really strong doing that, so I was happy. Then we got the second boulder. And the first time I stepped up on this, my feet are literally sliding off these volumes. And I think, I'm literally thinking to myself right now, like, how am I going to go from slipping and sliding off these volumes to balancing and topping the entire boulder? I wasn't sure that it was going to happen. And I also didn't know if there were any tops on it. I think I heard one maybe flash, but I wasn't sure if there was anything else. So my head was basically clear on this one. I was like, I'll just try my best. We'll see what happens. And then I realized, and I was, fixing my mistake from the qualifier, is I can just balance on it. And the trick with this one is, like, you can't just put a little pressure on it and, like, half balance and, like, do it kind of statically. You got to full commit to balancing all the way over on your foot. And that's the only way to really stand on this volume. Like, there's no in between. So once I learned that, I was pretty quick to just trust it and go into the move. And at this point, again, we got like maybe less than a minute left. And I put quite a few attempts on it to get to here. So, I wasn't actually stressing. I was just more moving and focusing on the climbing, which is exactly what you want to be doing. And I was really, really psyched to have gotten that slab top. Because again, I didn't think there were too many on that one. So now all of a sudden I'm in a good mood and I'm really confident. I'm ready to attack the rest of these boulders. So boulder 4 is this interesting kind of half lâché. It kind of looks like it's one of those, again, same as that second boulder where you kind of swing back and then match the hand and then go. But you've actually got this volume to step on. So it's more of a leg swing, just like I did on the second boulder. So you match it and then you just kick off and then swing down onto it. And it's more of a lunge, not even like a jump. So it was pretty, I'd say high percentage getting to the zone. And then this paddle was surprisingly difficult. I guess I thought, it looks like a paddle, of course, right? It looks like a 1, 2, 3, but everything is like quite high and the jump is quite awkward. And you're kind of jumping with your right arm, like your shoulders kind of like rolled towards the wall. So it's an awkward place to jump from. But I think my first read was to just stick the bottom one, and it was a little bit worse than I thought. And I thought maybe I could stick both at the same time. And I was just kind of trying both of these intermittently. And then all of a sudden the clock's coming down, down, down. And honestly, when that happens, my attempts almost get better. And you can see, like, right with that try hard, like, there's only 10 seconds left. I got to just do this. I think there's probably 20 seconds left. I was really, really happy to get that top. And it felt like a hard top. Like, that's how you know it's a good send, when it felt really hard to do it. And regardless of how many other people are doing it, to send something that was difficult for you in competition, even with the time pressure, is a good feeling, and it's something to be proud of. So whatever the result was going to be, I was really happy to have done that boulder. And then this fourth boulder, it turns out everything was riding on this. Either I flashed or second place, or if I flashed it or got it second try, I would be first place. So 3 tries and I'd be out of the gold medal position. But luckily, I was able to bust out a flash on this last boulder, and I could tell the audience was going crazy. So with that, I secured a first place finish at the Roseblock North American Cup, which is the coolest place to get a victory, being on Team Roseblock. It was such a great night, and I was super happy to have repped the team all the way up to the top of the podium. And with that, we are off to Brazil.